Hello and welcome to episode 66 of Mr. Industries XC Ford 351 Crusty wagon project. Yes, I said it. It's my XC again, because last weekend, after I had my video all sorted out to drop, I didn't really have a suitable thumbnail, so I loaded the car with my mountain bike and took it to a parkland destination for the thumbnail. And while I was there, I thought to myself, I'll just ride the bike and then come back and then go get some stuff from the shops. And everything was going fine until
Alright, so I have a mountain bike in the back. I'm going to go do a nice easy local ride and park my XC Crusty wagon in a public street near a public park that has bikeways. I'm just going to ride on the bikeway, grab a few things from the shops on the way home, and hopefully my car doesn't get stolen. So I guess you'd call this episode 66 of Mr. Industries Crusty Wagon 351 project. And as I mentioned in the last video, I have put this car on Facebook Marketplace, and now it's just a case of waiting to see what happens. But in the meantime, I might as well drive the car around and see how it goes. See the bike back there. There's definitely a bike in the back. Just one bike. I'm not forcing my wife to participate in this experiment. It's a nice Chevy truck. Alright, got my car. Alright, 8 minutes in, and I'm about 3.5 kilometres away from the car now. Now it's time to ride back. And hopefully the car's still there. That's Paradise Road behind me, if you know the area. And onwards and upwards. Crusty coming into view now. And it's still there. Hooray! Minutes. It's time to go to the shops and make my way home. Step 2 of this mission, get nachos. Bye Ford, bye bye. Chili and lime. Nachos in hand, let's see if the car's still here. And it is! Hooray!
here I am on the side of the road. That's Algester Road, you can see just over there. And after a sustained climb out of Algester, the car just went, nope, I've had enough of this, and it cut out in the middle of the hillside, and then in the fast lane it just completely stopped. A flood of cars went around me, thankfully. And I managed to get it to start up one more time, and I limped it around the corner here. Rather than go onto the main drag just up there onto the Mount Lindsay Highway. So here I am here with my tail between my legs, trying to figure out what's going on with this car. It looks like it's got fuel, the filter's full. I've just disconnected my kill switch in case the switch is faulty. I didn't test that one. So I'm going to start the car, I'm going to drive down this road, and hopefully I don't need to be towed. Maybe this is why I didn't drive the car all the way to a mountain biking excursion and back. I just didn't know whether it would make it or not. I did introduce an unknown variable into the car last weekend with that kill switch, but I've removed that from the circuit now. It's time to see if this car will behave itself. Now you could argue that maybe it's low on gas. I put 10 litres in last week, so I have gone literally 10 kilometres since then, so it won't be that. It's something else. Alright, it's the following weekend and it's time to look into why this car suddenly decided to stumble and stall on me as I roll up to a stop, which was something my XC sedan was doing prior to putting the MSD in it, and that was attributed to not enough voltage getting to the distributor, as far as I could tell anyway, because when the MSD went in it refused to run because the circuit couldn't supply enough clean voltage to it. So checking the fuel level, and the fuel level looks like about a third of a tank. Look in there, you can see the tide level isn't too bad, so I'm going to say that the fuel problem, well, it's not a fuel problem, it's got fuel. So it's safe to say that it's got enough fuel, because that's about a third of a tank, and the filter was definitely in the fuel when I pulled it out of the tank, so definitely got fuel. So I'll stick that all back together again, and we'll go to the front of the car and I'll figure out how I can get a relay into that circuit so I can basically do a switched relay in the engine bay to run my ignition. So here we are, back under the house, under the bonnet of my XC Crusty wagon, and now I'm going to add a relay into there, which is going to pretty much just add one extra loop of wire, so the hot wire from the ignition activates the relay, and then the relay takes its power source directly from the battery to the coil, which is exactly what I did. Just now to think about it, do a different way in the sedan. But the sedan solution made the sedan run without a drummer after that, so I'm going to try the engine-based solution first, and then I'm going to go directly from the ignition into the coil, or ignition, relay, coil. Hopefully one of those options works. I can't think why the first option wouldn't work, because as soon as you turn the power off to the ignition, the relay shuts off and then shuts the power off. But I'm sure I thought that way with the sedan, and then the car just wouldn't turn off, so I did something wrong. But we'll go with that this way until I'm proven otherwise, and then it'll be test drive time. Okay, behold, I have cobbled together some stuff lying around in my parts drawer. Got a relay, and a bunch of connecting blocks and a bunch of spade terminals, and I've made a circuit. So the original pickup was there, I rang that to the relay and then through to a ground. I've made a new power source from the battery to the coil, so the relay will turn on the coil and the car should theoretically start, but this circuit here does not depend on what's going on underneath there anymore. Well, it does to an extent, but hopefully that output there is strong enough to run the relay, which obviously a very, very weak draw, and the relay will enable the ignition to run with straight power from the battery. We should be running at 14 volts when the car is running, so we should be golden. Now let's ignore that bird's nest, which is only going to be there until the end of time, and go start the car. Let's see if the car will start, and then if it will stop, i.e. turn off. Because I'm sure last time I did this I stumbled across some problem, which means I had to have switched ignition closer to the key. Can't remember why now because it's been so long. But let's fire this thing up and see what happens. See what happens. First things first, connect battery. car's off. So I need to run a wire from the ignition to the relay. But yeah, same problem I had with the sedan. It just went, no, I'm not turning off. It suddenly occurs to me that I'm going to go to all of this trouble and still have to wire it straight to the ignition for the relay to work and the engine to shut off. I should just run the wire straight from the ignition to the coil through its own standalone circuit. Doesn't have any Mickey Mouse stuff going on in the background like resistance coils or anything like that, bad joints from 50 odd years of use. Just go straight to the coil from the ignition. That way I get to bypass any of the shenanigans that this car came with, and I don't need a relay and an extra set of problems to deal with. So let's just try that. Okay, I have run my standalone wire. Now it's time to see if the car will start and turn off. So I have spliced the red light green tracer wire for the ignition from the ignition switch. I've added in my blue wire, run it through the firewall straight to the coil circuit, so theoretically the coil should get an unadulterated 14 volts from the system while it's running, and I've bypassed any of the shenanigans that's going on between the ignition key and the coil in the old circuit. So hopefully the car's not going to stall out while I'm driving it around. But first things first, let's see if we can get it to start. And then stop. So, wind so far. Yay! Alright, time to tidy up the mess that I've made. So, I've been for a drive. I managed to do about 2 kilometres before the car decided it wanted to stall and cut out, and then over the course of the next kilometre, every intersection I came to, it cut out and died, and then it cut out and died. It got worse and worse and worse. It's like this fuel starve or something. Because I've bypassed the possibility of there being ignition issues. The only way I could get it more bypassed is if I just made the coil alive to the ignition and then hope for the best. Which I'm not really that comfortable with, so I might start looking at fueling, which clogged filter? Surely not. Does look kind of grubby. Okay, my next avenue of inquiry is going to be the fuel filter. If the fuel filter is blocked, because this is the first fuel filter I've put through the car since I got it running and driving all those months ago, maybe, just maybe, that fuel filter down there is clogged up. Now, these are cheap, and I'm pretty much sure I have one lying around that I haven't used yet, so I'm going to pull that one out and have a good close look at it, see if it's full of particles, because obviously Car's done about 150 k's, and the tank is by no means pristine, so maybe there's enough particles in the fuel filter to gum it up. So it runs okay for the first couple of kilometres because it's clogged up, and it's not so clogged up the flow stops. Once you keep driving it for a little bit, and then it just goes, nope, I'm all out of space to flow fuel, and then it just stops. So I should pull that fuel filter out and see if that's the issue, because obviously a tank full of rust and scale is going to clog filters. And it's going to be super annoying if it does that every 150 kilometres. Also, I mean, I had no dramas driving it around. Drove to work and back, drove to Red Bank and back. Been driving around faultlessly for weeks now, and now all of a sudden it's not cooperating. So, and it's, yeah, I'm starting to think it's fuel. So I'll start with the filter. Because when I looked at the filter sock in the in-tank filter, there were quite a few rust particles on the inside of the filter sock, which I thought was weird. So I'm going to dig out a filter and pull this one out. I knew I had a spare filter somewhere. Hopefully this won't take too long. Just maybe, I've found the culprit. Now, as you can see by that, the tide level of gunk in this filter is extraordinarily bad. Literally all the surface area that would have fuel flowing over it is full of grit. Shit. So, I'm pretty confident that fresh filter is going to sort this right out. Big question now is, how far does it take to go before it looks like this? Can I do 100 k's before it clogs up? 50 k's? But the good news is these are cheap and they're relatively accessible. That's bad. So buy some more tomorrow, and I'll keep one handy in the car, the appropriate tools to replace it if needed. It's so bad. Oh my goodness. Oh. Okay, old filter is out. New filter is in. And on tomorrow's to-do list, drive car, get more filters. Not necessarily at the same time. So, for the time being, it's time to fire the car up, get the fuel running through, and just make sure. Returned successful from my mission to secure filters, $6.50 each, so 2 to live there, and then 1 to get on the car. It's time for test drives. Okay, last time I tried this, I got 3 kilometers. Actually, I got 2 kilometers before the time for episode 66 of Miss Industries 351 Crusty wagon project. And after all that drama, it turns out it was a $6.50 fuel filter that I fortunately had one more of. So the car is back in action, which is great news. So I get to drive it around. Might even try and take it to work this week. We'll see how I go. But for the time being, you can just sit here under the house, nice and safe.
Those out in the wild.